Searching for Love, A Guide to Healing the Inner Me, serves as a guide for what a healed heart looks like. This book provides sobering truth to ensure you will create an environment authentic and God-ordained healing. This book encouraged the reader to let go of this false self, and it reminds us that if we are to embrace who we are, we have to let go of who we are not. When we aim to heal the inner me and understand everything is not because of the enemy, we allow ourselves to detoxify from the junk that lies dormant that we honestly don't want to surface. It is my prayer that after reading this feat, you are compelled to move from toxicity, recognize your value, and arrive at a place called heal.
Hey, welcome to Kitchen Conversations on tonight. I can't say hallelujah right now, but y'all, tonight, welcome to Kitchen Conversations with Dr. T. How about that? Welcome. Tonight we're talking about sex amongst Gen Z, millennials and Gen Z. I don't know why I can't talk about this, but this is Salt and Pepper. Let's talk about sex. Y'all know about that song all the way back in the day. So today we're going to talk about sex. Kitchen Conversations deal with real people, real issues, but we base it on biblical solutions. So we all know that sex is a part of God's plan. He made it for man and woman to reproduce in the earth. But we always, as parents, as teachers, as administrators, as whomever, grandparents, it is our jobs to teach the younger generation about sex. And because nowadays, I ran across a lot of different things that actually disturb me, and they disturb some of the guests that's on here as well. They actually deal with the youth on a daily day basis. So I really wanted to bring this topic up because in the church, we shy away from talking about things like this, but we have to educate our children. We have to educate them because if you don't educate them the right way, somebody's going to educate them the wrong way. Okay. And it might not be wrong to them, but it's wrong to you. And if you don't teach your children what they need to know, then hey, you leave your children open up to the enemy, and that way all different other things come. The spirit of perversion comes in. Uh, the everything. Anything done in excess is perversion. But if they don't really know how to take care of their bodies, their hygiene, and or all of this stuff. Most of the young people are thinking like, or sex is not sex, but you still don't know how to take care of their hygiene. They still dirty. If you have oral sex, they can't get STDs. I mean, this is real conversations we need to have with our youth. And I just want to bring it to the forefront. But before we start, I want the people that's in the audience, that's viewing, that's interactive. Hey, Tasha. Hey, thank you for joining on tonight. I want you guys to please like, comment, and share. Ping some. I'm going to say ping. That's Clubhouse. Invite your friends. Tag your friends. Some educators, some administrators, some mothers, some fathers. Some grandparents. Let's get on here. Let's have an interactive conversation. Let's have a real conversation. Hey, Tiffany, Sarita. Let's have a real conversation on tonight about sex, sex among the millennials and sex among Gen Z. I don't know why I can't say that. Gen Z. Okay. We need to really open up their eyes and give them the truth. Okay. So if you do me a favor, you just make sure you tell me what city and state that you're, looking from, that you're sitting in, that you're viewing from. That let me know where all of my people are from on tonight. And if you want to, like I said, this was Salt and Pepper. I do not own any rights or privileges that any music that I'm playing. This is Salt and Pepper back in the day. Let's talk about sex. They started that a long time ago. So listen, I want to start off tonight inviting my guests. Most of these two have been on my show, numerous of times. They're not any strangers to Kitchen Conversation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring them on. and I let them introduce themselves. Deidre Pryor is known as the Hygiene Chick in Memphis, Tennessee. Also have Minister Latasha Dillard. She works in the school system, and she also has a nonprofit organization that targets young women, Divine Diva Enterprises. I'm gonna let both of them come on, and I'm gonna let them talk more about what they do in the community. Okay. Hey, Deidre.
Hey, hey y'all, how y'all doing?
Hey, you on mute, Tasha. Tasha, you on mute. Did you unmute yourself? There you go.
Salutations and
There you
greetings.
go. Yes,
Yes.
yes. So, Deidre, do me a favor. Introduce yourself to the audience.
Hello, everyone. I hope all is well. My name is Deidre Pryor. I am from Memphis, Tennessee. 901 is actually 901 day. Woo
It's
woo.
901 day. Woo. Look, I'm
Yes.
not even
So
in Memphis, but I'm a
I know
Memphian.
that's all right. We got you. We
That's right.
represent
Thank you.
down here. We got you. Well, hello everyone. I'm Deidre Pryor, and the Hygiene Chick is my nonprofit organization. What about the Hygiene Chick? That's simply to teach youth girls about proper hygiene and puberty hygiene, self care, preparing themselves for the restrooms while they're on their menstrual cycles, preparing the restroom for other people coming behind them. All things hygiene. When you think of hygiene, we talk about it here. My full-time job every day is I'm the club director at Boys and Girls Club at Oak Haven High Middle School. I do that every day. What else for you? What else I can say?
You do it all. I mean, we trying to get you to
A
talk
wife,
about
a
hygiene
mother.
for the women. We're trying to get you there. Yep, I said it. Yep, I said it. We was talking about it backstage. I said not only do under 18, but some of these grown folks need to know how to keep themselves clean up too. Because I worked at Walmart, and I tell you, I seen some nasty stuff. Okay, so
Yes,
not only
yes.
do young girls under the age of 18 need, some of these older women need to know, because sometimes they didn't have the training either, and they
No,
just
they
don't
didn't.
know either.
That's true.
So
You're right.
it's sometimes us as women need to know how to take care of our bodies, and guess what?
You're
You might
right.
be the one to tell us.
You're right. Keep on praying for me.
I'm gonna keep praying. I'm gonna keep praying. Tasha, tell the viewers about yourself. Tasha, can you hear me? I can't hear you, Tasha. What happened?
Can you hear me? Testing.
I
Can you hear me
got
now?
you.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Somebody's trying to call. Um, Salutations and greetings, everybody. My name is Latasha Dillard. By day, I just moved into a new position recently, so I was promoted, and I deal with student safety now. I still work with students, but it's behind the scenes protecting our children every day. Um, I've been working with children since 1999. I have a nonprofit organization, Divine Divas Academy. We work with young ladies dealing with education, empowerment, esteem, and entrepreneurship. And we're shifting to we work with women as well. So it's just different facets of the organization. But we're here to talk about sex tonight. So let's have some fun and educate the people.
That's right. That's right. I got my first question. In your own words, and I'm gonna start with Deidre. In your own words, tell the audience I already did that. What you doing? How did you begin to do that? What made you start the hygiene chick?
Well, um, I'm 41 now, but my 35th birthday, I wanted to do something different besides celebrate my birthday. And everybody know that I'm a hygiene person. I always talk about it before I even formed the organization.
Mm-hmm.
And a young lady at my church was talking about some foster girls transitioning into adults.
Mm-hmm.
And she was saying about how they struggle with getting their hygiene necessities. So I got together and I did like 35 plus, but the goal was 35 because I was turning 35. But
Mhm.
I did 35 self-care packets full of hygiene necessities. I gave out to the young girls, well, young women at the center, South Memphis Alliance. And within that, giving it out and talking to them, they was very appreciative of it. But we were talking about discussions about hygiene, and like you say, some people are not taught. So some of those 16, 17, 18 year old young ladies, they weren't taught. So they laid heavy on my heart when I left there,
Mhm.
and I started brainstorming. And I was like, well, that's something that I like to talk about. I mean, just in conversation. I'm the hygiene girl because
Mhm.
it starts with me.
That's right.
So and how I was taught. So I was like, I wanted to share it with the world, share it with whoever, that came across. So you know how social media is. Y'all know how social media is. When you put it out there, and also people put it out there for you.
Mhm.
Latasha Dillard is one of them. She done invited me to
Yes.
several things and pushed me out of comfort
Yes.
zones because really I was just, wanting all about the youth. And
Mhm.
I couldn't even imagine where I am now today. It's still, I have to like kind of pinch myself sometimes at the
Mhm.
rooms that I've been invited to. So just about
Mhm.
proper hygiene.
Mhm.
So that's how I got started on my 35th birthday, and we've been established since 2019.
Wow, that's amazing. So, like
Yeah.
I said, now it's time for expansion.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now it's time for expansion. I hear expansion. Let's go.
All
Yes.
right now. Come on,
Expansion.
Let's
expansion.
I
go. Let's
agree.
go.
All right.
All right. Minister Latasha Dillard, you know you ain't no stranger to kitchen conversation, but let's tell the people how you start
Not
Divine Diva Enterprises.
so when I moved to Murray, Kentucky, 2007, I started going to Murray State University to further my education, and I had to
Mhm.
take 15 hours of volunteer service for a class, and I started working at a girls group home. And there's a young
Mhm.
lady who I still keep in touch with this day. Her name is Mary. Mary would Mary stuck to me like glue, and I developed a relationship with Mary like none other, and she encouraged me on so many different levels because I saw myself in her. But what she said was, Miss Tasha, if I go back home and I've changed, but my home life hadn't changed, what am I supposed to do? And for
Mm,
me, that was a good thought process and a good perspective
Right.
because most times we deal with the children, but we don't deal with the parents or home life
mm,
changing.
mhm,
And so
Mm-hmm.
from from that from that perspective, I looked around the community and saw that there were football and basketball and all of this for boys, but there wasn't really anything for the girls. So we started off as a liturgical dance ministry, and then we
mhm,
shifted
Mm-hmm.
into Divine Divas. I had, I think, 30 girls that signed up our first day of registration, and we have 15 African American and we have 15 Caucasian. The
mm.
15 African American stayed, and the 15 Caucasian couldn't relate to the program. And so what
Wow.
God told me was there was a lot of programs that were out there um, with good ratios of prevention for pregnancy and all of that. But what about the girls who, moms are in and out of jail, in and out of prisons? What
Mhm,
about the moms that's
Right.
on drugs?
Right.
What about the young ladies who need mentors? What about the young ladies who do get pregnant? Who's going to
Mm-hmm.
mentor those young ladies? And so
mhm,
God said, I ran for a while, but he said, what better person than to, help them is somebody who's actually been through a lot of some of the things that they've been
Right.
through. And that's how
wow.
Divine Divas was launched. And we came to Memphis. We started in Murray, Kentucky in 2009. And we branched off and came to Memphis in 2013. And
Mhm.
then we started Divine Divas. We were supposed to only have 12 or 15 girls. And we ended up with 47 girls. And
Wow.
I realized that
Wow. That's
the
amazing.
need was there,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm,
but the workers were few.
mhm, mhm.
Yes.
You
So
just came up with a curriculum too, right? You
yes.
just
And I thought I had my curriculum. I have to show you the curriculum a little later. It's called Working Girl. The
mhm,
R is for write the vision. E is educate yourself on the vision. R is build relationships that matter. And the K is know your worth. So it's
Wow.
helping young ladies to work their self-esteem, work their confidence, work their education, build their goals, think about entrepreneurship, think about what they want to do after college, and we help them establish the plan and work that plan.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's amazing work. Now, Deidre, we're gonna go back to you.
Thank you.
Deidre made a post. I don't know if you saw it, Tasha, but Deidre made a post in July, and she said, well, I'm gonna read it to you. She said, "Parents, I beg you to talk with your youth girls about sex, especially oral sex. The more I have sessions on all things hygiene, youth girls feel they need to share with me about it. Having oral sex instead of sexual intercourse, middle age, ninth and 10th graders. They're clueless about STDs. They think if they only perform oral sex, they can't catch a disease. Please, please, please. They don't want to share with their parents. So this is something that you ran across with middle school children actually talking about sex, right? So give us some more insight about that.
So I had a session. I wouldn't name where the session was at,
Right.
but this young lady, I had did the presentation, gave out the gifts and the giveaways and all of that. And this young lady was just lurking around, not interacting with the other girls. And I'm like, okay, she must have a question about hygiene that she, don't want everybody to hear about. Because I do say I'll stay after. So if someone have questions that they don't want to say out in the open, they can come to me personally or they can come to one of my team members. So this young lady came to me and she was actually in the 8th grade.
Wow.
And she said that I want to ask you something, but it's not pertaining to hygiene. And I was like, okay, my eyes kind of booked because I didn't know what she was going to say. And so the young lady, she was like, well, and I was like, go ahead, you can say it. If I have the answers, I will, try to give it to you. If I don't, we're going to point you in the right direction so someone can help. And so she just came right out and said, well, I feel like I performed oral sex on another 8th grade boy at the school. And she said, I think I will continue to do that and not have sex because I just let her talk. And she was like, because if I have sex, I can have a baby. But if I have oral sex, nobody will know. And then I was like, well, what is this pertaining to hygiene and what I done got myself into? Oh my God. I was like, oh, we. So, I just kind of explained to her and I told her, I was just like asking her about her relationship. Who did she live with? She said with her mom, said her mom was always working. So she really didn't feel comfortable with talking to her mom about it. And I just told her that at some point she needs to try to have a conversation with her mom. And I really wish I could say something to her mom, but she didn't want me to say anything. She was trying to see what I had to say. So I just told her that number one, I'm not promoting any sex. I'm not promoting oral or sexual intercourse. Let me just say that. And I was just talking to her about knowing her worth and all that. And I did tell her, I said, you mentioned to me about not getting pregnant. I said, but it's other things that come with it. STDs. And I said, do you have a cell phone? Yes, ma'am, I have a cell phone. And I said, Google STDs, sexually transmitted disease. Educate yourself. You're not too young and educate yourself. But again, I was constantly telling her that we need to get to a common ground where you can talk to your mom, talk to your guardian about it. And I was just telling her that some STDs are not curable. You can just take medication over time, and you'll still be stuck with it. And I said, you got to always remember with the ending in mind.
That's right.
When you're not going to always be in the 8th grade, you're not going to be always be 13, 14 years old. You're going to be somebody's wife one day. And I asked her, I said, do you want to be a wife one day? And she was like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I was like, well, think about the ending in mind, your
That's right.
self-worth. Your
Mm-hmm.
self-worth. And I just started talking about self-love, self-worth. And I was like, don't let anybody trick you into doing something, And then she was like, well, I don't think, no, I like him, And I was like, still. Don't
Right.
let nobody trick you. You need to be educated on these things. And I think we left on a good note. I told her that I gave her my cell phone number if she had any more questions or concerns, or if she wanted me to further help her out and get her mom together and talk to her, but she wasn't comfortable with it. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that the young lady is doing what I suggested that she
Mm-hmm.
does. But I see a lot of girls. Latasha, she works in the school system. I worked in the middle school for 5 years before I started at the Boys and Girls Club. And I seen a lot. A lot was done at the school where we're trying to prevent happening
Mm-hmm.
as administrators, teachers, behavior specialists, talking to them. But they have so much freedom at home also.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna start with saying, where do we draw the line with the parents? The parents, I see,
Yes.
I don't want to talk bad about any of the parents. If they have to work, they have to work. We have to do what we have to do. But at the end of the day, we gotta keep our kids first
That's right.
at the forefront. Watch what we do in front of them. I see so
Mm-hmm.
many, they kicking it with their parents,
That's right.
smoking weed, having
Mm-hmm.
all these different type of conversations. The parents are encouraging them.
Mm-hmm.
Many
Mm-hmm.
prostitutes,
Mm-hmm.
encouraging
Yes.
them, girl, you better get that money, all that. No, where
Mm.
do we draw the line with the parents?
That's
Let's,
right.
let's talk about the parents, the parenting style now. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I don't know how can we heal, begin to heal the parents, and get them on the path of trying to teach their girls and their boys about their worth, self love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It
That's
really
right.
takes a village. I see TV say it takes a village.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does.
It
It really
does.
does.
It does. And it's good
So,
you say that because we do as parents, we tend to forget that we get busy in the hustle and bustle, and especially some people the parents that's really trying to do what they're supposed to be doing.
right.
Now we're not talking about the parents that want to be their child's best friend and won't tell them about sex or tell them, girl, you better get that
Hmm.
money, or
Right.
twerking in front of them and smoking
Right.
weed with them and going to the club.
Hmm.
Like I used to tell, I got a
Right.
26-year-old. I used to tell my daughter, I'm not your friend. I'm your
That's
mother.
right. That's
Like,
right.
let's not get it twisted. Okay. Yeah, we can laugh, we can joke, we can make,
Right.
all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm not finna go to no club with you and hang out with you and your friends and twerk. Like, what we do at the house, we play around, that's fine. But at the end of the day, I am your mother. And
Hmm.
what she tell me I'm too raw because I'm gonna tell her, listen, these guys, they'll tell you different things. If you ain't ready for that, don't do it. If you don't want
That's
that,
right.
then don't do it. And then it's we always preaching abstinence, but now it's not. I'm still preaching abstinence because you're supposed to, but
Right.
in reality is that
Hmm.
these children are having sex.
Right. They are.
So
They're sneaking.
what we need to do is teach them how to protect themselves. Like
That's right.
when
That's right.
I sent my daughter off to college, I said, look, you need to have your own supply. You need to have your
Hmm.
own supply. Don't be thinking about these guys that got thinking they got their own stuff. You need to make sure you got
That's
your
it right
stuff.
there.
Okay. I'm not
Hmm.
gonna be no fool and think you ain't doing it because you off to college. You out the house. So
Right.
I'm gonna be proactive and teach you that you need to protect yourself. That's what you need
Right.
to
And
do.
there's different
That's right.
options out here, with birth
Right.
control and
Hmm.
things like that. So if you have to take that extra step, you know that your daughter is open, or she's saying that she's going to participate in that activity, then all you can do as a parent, is make sure you do the steps as birth control and, like you said, condoms, protecting yourself.
Hmm.
Because once they get a certain age, You can just continue to just talk and hope that they get it, or what you already instilled in them. So,
Mm. Can you hear me, Tasha? Say something.
I can hear y'all, but y'all can't hear me. Can you hear me?
I
yeah,
can
we
hear
can.
you.
I can hear you.
I'm saying, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we can hear you. Yep, we can hear. I had a question. I forgot the question because I was looking at your face. I was like, wait a minute, she said she couldn't talk. But what did I know, Tasha, you deal with you're in the high school. So what do you actually see as far as these, kids learning about sex and hygiene in the school system? Kids learning about sex and hygiene in the school system.
Yeah, Deidre and I probably see some of the same issues, and this lack of education from the parents. It's building their relationship with them and being able to talk to them, being able to teach them what's right, what's wrong. And again, like you were saying, abstinence. We can talk about abstinence. We can teach about abstinence all day. That's part of preventative measures, and I understand that. But the truth and reality is our babies are having sex. And though I work in the high school, I think age-appropriate conversations should take place in elementary school because it's healthy education that they need to know. And that's part of the reproductive system. That's part of what it looks like, what it's supposed to be, what the dynamic of a family really is based on Christian values. What does that look like? What do we believe? My granddaughter is 7. Well, she's 8 now. She just turned 8. But during the summertime, her and her friends had some conversations in their Robux app. They were talking about being, the little girl said, "Happy Pride" at 7. Her grandmother or mother or whoever is saying it's okay for them. So they're having a conversation about what it is. And my granddaughter was like, "Hey, Gigi, I need to talk to you about something." And we riding in the car, and I'm like, "Uh-oh." "What is this?" And she said, "Well, am I bi?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Well, my friend says she's bi." Well, she's 7. So we can't wait to high school to talk about abstinence. We can't wait to talk about, we have to talk about what sexual education what it really is, what's healthy. I'm gonna read the statistics because we need to know why we need to study. It says each year in the US, 750,000 teens become pregnant. 750,000 teens. 82% of those pregnancies being unattended. Young people 15 to 24 account for 25% of those who are infected with HIV.
Wow.
So we can't just sit back and say, "Hey, you need to be abstinent. You need to practice abstinence." What's the why behind it? The consequences of it. We deal with teen pregnancy. Poverty also comes along with that.
Right.
Because most of the teens are on government assistance. Most of the teens come from a single parent household. Where I've seen here lately is young ladies get pregnant, and 2 days later, he's saying, "No, that ain't my baby."
That ain't my baby.
And so now, here you are, a young lady, and you got to step up because you made the decision to have sex with him, and you think, "Oh, he you the only one," but he having sex with you and this one, but you end up getting pregnant, and now he don't want you no more because he said that's not his baby. He gone over here with the other ones that he been dealing with. So we have to educate our young ladies about sex, about pregnancy, about, STDs and what it looks like. I remember Deidre, I don't know if I shared this, but I remember when I was in the 6th grade and I started my cycle. It wasn't my mom I had the conversation with. It was my big brother.
Wow.
And he knew nothing about properly putting a pad on. He just told me to go in there under the sink, grab the maxi pad and put it in my panties. And that's what I did. I didn't take the label off. I didn't know any of that. So all of this works together in the sex education area. We need to be having conversations elementary. And we can't just say we can't have that conversation anymore because television tells us it sells sex.
That's
So the
right.
kids see it, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's in cartoon, whether it's on the apps, whether
That's
it's on
right.
TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
as
right.
parents, it starts at home.
That's right.
Then it
That's
goes to
right.
the school.
Mm-hmm.
Then it
That's
goes
right.
to the churches. Then it goes to the community organization, because it takes the whole village to
That's
raise the
right.
kids. But
That's
the
right.
village is now lacking now.
That's
The
right.
village has that ain't my business
Mm-hmm.
attitude. Those not my kids.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't got nothing to do with me. But
Yes.
They
it
got
has
nothing to do with
everything
you.
to do with all of us. And so
That's
we
That's
right.
all have
right.
to work together
That's right.
and bring it back together full circle, so we
Mm-hmm.
can grab hold of our youth again. You know, we
That's right.
we are
Yes.
the solution. We're not part
That's
of the
right.
solution. We are the
Love the
solution.
solution. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We need to grab a hold of our children. And you know what? And funny you said that me and Deidre was just having this conversation right before you got on there, that I had the same conversation with my 14-year-old, because now, you know, we moved to Lawrenceville, and now she got a whole set of new friends, and that's the conversations that they're having now. I'm fluid. And she didn't even know what fluid means, but that's the new term. The fluid is, one day I want to be with a man, one day I want to be with a girl. It's love is love, you know. But we have to teach them what is actually happening. And then she, you know, we had a conversation. She told me I was homophobic and all that stuff, and I was like, no, I'm not homophobic. I'm teaching you what is right. I'm teaching you what the Bible says, okay? And this is what I don't hate them. I don't, whatever, you know, I don't have hate for them in my heart, but I need to teach you the truth. Uh, this is what you've been taught. I don't need you to go to your friends and think this is supposed to be okay. But what I need to teach you is, it was the Bible way, man and woman. It's for reproduction and all of that. I taught her the whole thing. So we had a whole conversation, you know. But even that, I want to talk about Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon said, Nick Cannon said, 80% of the women don't know how to keep their hygiene. Women, not young girls. He was saying 80% of women don't have good hygiene. And see, that just goes back to what I was telling you, Deidre. Some of these women need to learn, because they didn't have some of them didn't have a mama. Some of them mama was out strong on drugs. Didn't have a grandmama. Their grandmama might have passed away, or their grandmama might was on drugs too. You know, you just never know why these women don't know how to take care of themselves. You know, and so many different things. You know, like the douching and stuff like that. One doctor say you're supposed to do it, another doctor say you don't supposed to do it, and then you know your pH balance is off, and you don't know how to take care of your body, and then you get this older and all of that. So, but we need to teach young girls and women the proper way to do your hygiene. So, what do you have to say about that hygiene?
So one of the things that's in my sessions that I talk about to break down the component of hygiene is the art of hygiene. And that's simply knowing your body.
That's right.
You know, knowing your body type, getting to know your body. It all links back to, I think, self-love. Self-love. I always, when I'm talking about hygiene, I link it back to self-love, because to me, you can possibly love yourself if hygiene was your number one thing that you were thinking about before you went to bed or when you wake up. You know, that's just a part of it. That's my perspective on that. And I saw that quote with Nick Cannon, and I laughed a little bit, but I also shook my head really hard, because it's sad. I'm gonna just say this right here. I don't think no real man would want to lay up or be around a woman with hygiene issues. If a man, this is just my perspective, if a man is laying up with a woman and he knows that he got to want something else besides sex, y'all, money or something like that. I can't wrap my mind. I can't wrap my mind around it. So that's what I'm saying. It goes back to self-love, knowing your worth, knowing who you are, knowing who you are. I know a lot of women have so many issues, like you say, with being a single mom, trying to juggle everything. But I was always taught, we lived in the project. It was
Mhm.
about seven or eight of us living in those projects, Scutterfield. We
Mm.
had one bathroom, but all of us took care of our hygiene. So, like I said, where there's a will, there's a way.
Mhm.
So I mean, I just don't see a lot of excuses, or I
Mhm.
don't take a lot of excuses. I might be a little hard when it comes to hygiene because, like, when the girls hit me with certain things, and I know some of them might, like we were talking earlier, they might not have a washer and dryer at home, but if you
Mhm.
have one running water, there's still a way.
Mhm.
Put your
Exactly.
clothes in that tub, put your clothes in this sink, and wash them on your hand.
Mhm.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I just think with women and him saying something like that is more so of being kind of trifling
Mhm.
to me. That links back to that. This,
Right.
this, this,
Well, you know,
that's
I
what I
told you.
think about that.
I told you what I've seen. As far as me being assistant manager at Walmart, we had to make sure that the restrooms were clean, and we
Right.
seen some terrible stuff. Just for women, not young girl. We talking about women
Women.
that don't
Right.
just trifling, that don't take care of their bodies, that they just don't take care of the hygiene. It's just gross. It's just
Well,
nasty.
I just really think it just links back up to, I can't put another word to it, trifling. If you would come in the restroom, like y'all know that I have a segment where we do the restroom tips, and we
Mhm.
talk about preparing the restroom for somebody coming behind you and properly taking care of those pads and tampons and the disposal of that. But we're talking about women right now.
Mhm.
Yeah, some might not have been taught, but you on Google for everything else.
Right.
If that's an issue for you, ask. Get
It's,
on Google. Google has a lot,
mhm. Mhm.
so that's why you smiling, Tasha. But I'm just saying, you know, and
But
as the women, I would say, think about the person coming behind you, or think
mhm.
about if you're at home, you wouldn't want nobody to come into your restroom and do anything like this. So why would you do that?
Mhm.
Especially out in a public place. And then it goes back to say about the hygiene. Some women live in filth.
Mhm. Mhm.
I have seen women really, really dressed to the gods. But if you go in their house and go in their restrooms and stuff like that, you're like,
It's,
oh my God, what is going on here?
mm,
So, I just, like I said, I just link it back to just not just being trifling.
yeah. Tasha, what is some of the deepest conversations that you had, or off guard conversations that you had with some of the people, young girls, young guys that's in school about sex or about hygiene? You're on mute. You're on mute. Or I guess you're having a little technical difficulties. But let me ask you this: what are some of the things? Or should I say, how deep is some of the conversations have you had with some of the young ladies about sex
About sex,
outside of the one that you had about the oral sex? Yep.
well, let me just start with in my home with my
Mm-hmm.
daughter.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy. It's easy to talk to her at first when she was kind of middle school age where we were introducing it. She
Mm-hmm.
backed off of it, didn't really want to talk about it. It was like immature to her
Mm-hmm.
because she was like, "Oh, that's way out of my league. I don't want to hear about it." But I gradually had to, me and my husband had to walk her through it. It's some things that I had to do as a mother, and
Mm-hmm.
then my husband talked to her from the male perspective. what to look for, what to watch out for. So I've had a lot of deep conversations just talking with my daughter, and especially with her being in college. We talk about it. We talk about it all the time. We still talk about she's 19 years old, about to be 20, but we still talk about the expectations. Still
Mhm.
trying to keep at the forefront of her head of moving forward. It's nothing wrong. First of all, a lot of girls are embarrassed by being virgins.
Mm.
I found that out from her when she would say they would kind of joke around at school about being a virgin. So just think, if a lot of our girls were being joked about it, then they would want to try it so they can be in the in crowd. So that's why I say it's so important as a mother, a father, a sister, aunt, guardian, administrators to make sure we're letting these girls know, and these young men too, know your
Mhm.
worth.
That's
Know
right.
your worth.
Hmm.
Decision making. All of these are life skills,
That's right.
based around it.
Mhm.
Something that they're gonna need from years to come. So first of all, we had to break that ground, and I'm so glad that my daughter, she know who she is.
That's right.
So that doesn't bother her. That does not bother her that you know in her freshman year they were joking with her about being a virgin or not being on birth control pills. And I was like, well, why would you be on birth control pills if you're not having sex?
That's right.
So, we had to talk about those things, and she's comfortable with it. But I have a lot of conversations with, and I try to limit it when it's in the school system.
Hmm.
Certain things, we can't talk about it. And even though I'm with the Boys and Girls Club, we're inside of the school.
Hmm.
So those girls, they get comfortable. I'm easy to get along with, but I still draw that line, like talking to my daughter, but not talking to my daughter. If you can get
Hmm.
what I'm saying, from um a mentor
Hmm.
perspective,
Hmm.
type thing. But I always link it back to self love and self worth.
That's right.
Always.
That's right. That's
Always. I
good.
don't care if they participated in sex. I always link it back to self love, self worth. And you got to be consistent with it. You got to show them that they care. Like I said, a lot of them have too much time on their hand. Too
Hmm.
much. Too much time on their hand. That's why we offer. Come to the Boys and Girls Club. It might sound a little lame, but just come for about an hour and a half because they're going home to empty houses.
Hmm. Hmm.
They're going home to, yeah. So I try to use that as a tool to kind of keep them busy. We have job readiness and opportunities for them, making sure that I'm bold and telling them about that because I know in the back of my mind what I see.
That's right.
Them in the corner, hugged up with boys and stuff like this. So just trying to get them to, as a mentor,
Hmm.
type to uh, do
That's good.
something different.
That's good.
Get
That's
in a
good.
sport, something like that.
Yep, that's good. I wanted to. I know it finally came back to my mind, but Tasha says she won't be able to come back on. Her service is not allowing her, but she's going to finish watching. But I thank you, Tasha, for even being, in the
Okay.
conversation. And I wish that you could, come back on. But thank you for continuing to watching. Just be interactive in the chat so we can bring up some more questions. But I was just thinking about. I finally thought about the question that I was going to answer. Most people do not know that the age of sexual consent is 13. I don't know why I can't talk today.
Mm,
13. How can you,
mm.
a 13-year-old, give consent to have sex? That is what the doctor is saying, and the reason why I found that out with my
Not
oldest
with your
daughter,
daughter. Mm.
because she kicked me. She was like, "You," she said, "Well, the age of consent is 13. So if she don't want you in the room, she can kick you out, basically." So
Wow.
how can I just don't understand how they can come up with a age of 13 to say, yeah, I can have sex. This
Wow.
is my body. I
That's
can have sex. It's
that's
a
that's
child.
shocking. That's shocking to me too. I mean, um, I've always been around and I'm still. I thought maybe you telling me something new because every time my daughter went for a checkup or something like that, I was always there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I was always there with her, and also now we did transition and tell her about where you 18 now, so I would need your consent.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know it was 13.
It's 13.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Oh,
So
that's 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 heartbreaking.
that is heartbreaking that you give a 13-year-old the right to say, yeah, they could have some sex.
That's not even mature enough to make choices.
Yeah.
I know I had right before I left the school system, my past job, we had a fifth grade girl. She was supposed to be in the sixth grade, but she was pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
But she was pregnant by her mom's boyfriend. And that hurt my heart so bad because her life just changed. You know, she's 12 years old, 13 years old, and she's a mother and she's so scared. You know, so I can't imagine you giving a 13-year-old consent
No,
uh,
no.
to have.
Nikki said it's in Tennessee. It's 18. No, it's 13. It was when I was there, Nikki. It wasn't when I came here. It was when I was in Tennessee with my oldest daughter, and they told me
Mm-hmm.
that at the time she was older than 13, but they said now the legal age of consent is 13 years old for sex. Yes, it wasn't when I got here. It was when I was in Tennessee with my oldest. So yeah,
Wow.
I'm telling you, they're allowing these children now
We
to.
got to continue
Right,
to pray over them and cover them. And like you say, it takes a village. Mom may
right.
can't do it by herself. And a lot of them are being raised, I forgot to mention that too, older grandparents.
Yeah.
They're tired. They're tired.
Hmm.
And they have to raise their grandchildren and they just trying to do the best they can. I've
Hmm.
seen them in their late 60s and 70s with their grandchildren. So they not equipped about what's going on in the cell phones and stuff like that. It's
Right.
so easy
Hmm.
to get by. So that's when the village come in as far as school, you know, in church and
Hmm.
community partners and stuff like that. So I just say all of us have to continue to just do our part and not only, you know, work in our household because I know with me, I see a lot working around the youth. Sometimes I feel like, yeah, my kids may be excelling in the area, but I still feel like I fail, you know, when the youth that I
Hmm.
work around take different routes and stuff
Hmm.
like that. So
Hmm.
yeah, it takes a village.
Right.
It really does.
It does. Tiffany said the physician will ask you to leave the room so they can have a brief discussion, but this is when
Okay.
you need to have a real relationship to have open discussion.
Yes, that
That
is
is so true.
absolutely correct, Tiffany. I agree with that. I thank God for my relationship with my children, and you have to keep that going. You have to keep that relationship, generational cycles and stuff like that. You have to pray that off, you know, and do something different. We can't out, you know, I respect my mom, my grandmothers, and but some of the things and how they did things,
Hmm.
we can't go that route. You know, there was like an easy route for them, but
Okay, they say the
no.
legal age of consent for sexual is 18 in Tennessee. Okay, so I was in Mississippi. I was right out in Olive Branch. So maybe I need to look at what the age of consent for, because I was staying in Olive Branch at
Okay.
that time, and they told me it was 13. I was sitting in the doctor's
Well,
office
I
when she told me
pray, I hope that this is 18. Whew.
it needs to be 18, but that doctor told me 13. I was like, what
Wow.
the world? And I didn't do any research myself, but the doctor did tell me that it was
Wow.
13. So and she had the decision that she, if she didn't want me to have, be in the room with her when she was being examined.
Yeah.
So
I was just thinking about something too that came across my mind when I was talking about we have to be consistent and when we were talking about parents working and stuff. But I want to go so far as to stretch parents' mind. Don't be naive. Don't
right.
be naive because I do have young ladies that I know are performing oral sex on their so-called boyfriends and
Mm-hmm.
they parents are active in their life. Go to church, go,
Wow.
but they leaving out that piece about
Mm-hmm.
sex and talking about the dangers and what it can do,
Mm-hmm.
in the long run. And I really, 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 really want parents to understand it's not like the old days. We got to come with it. I
That's
mean, we
right.
might have, it may make us fall off our feet or something like that, but we got to have these conversations
You
like
need to have a conversation.
ASAP.
You do,
We
and
got to have them.
I do understand that some of the younger generation, and shoot, some of the older generation might think because they're having oral sex that they're not having sex, but oral
Right.
sex, and and sex is sex, either way it
Yes.
goes,
Yes. Either way I go. Yeah.
because it's a transfer of fluids
That's
first.
right. That's
Yes,
right. And you can get a sexually transmitted disease in your mouth.
right. Yep, you can have oral STD. You sure can. But
Yes.
we need to teach our children that, because we don't want to teach them, because we don't want to have that thought as parents. Oh, I don't want to think about my daughter having sex. Oh, I want to think about my son having sex. But most of the times when your son having sex, the daddy giving them high five and giving them dap and all that stuff. But you have to teach
Yeah.
them the same way,
Right. That's
because
right.
you
That's
can't
right.
a girl can't get pregnant by herself.
That's
So you got
right.
to teach your young guys, just like we're teaching young girls, about safe sex, about
Mm-hmm.
keeping yourself, careful who you share yourself with, whether you're a girl
Right.
or a guy. So we
Right.
need to make
That's right.
sure
It
that
worked both ways.
it
You're
worked both
right.
ways. Yeah, just like Tiffany was saying, the transfer of spirits as well. Yep.
Yes, Tiffany.
This is
Yes.
how we get soul ties. Yeah, we talked
That's
about
right.
soul ties before. Soul ties, you be want to bust windows out the car, slash tires, and you be wondering why, because that's not even the way
That's
you
right.
acting, because you got
That's
soul
right.
ties,
That's
because
right.
you done transferred, you done gave yourself to somebody, and you don't know what all they
Mm-hmm.
dealing with in their house, in their
That's right.
generation or in their
That's right.
bloodline. And
That's
then you
right.
done became one. That's why God tell us that we're supposed to leave our mother and father and become one with
Right.
our wife and our husband. That's why we become one with them,
Mm-hmm.
because we are taking on their spirits.
Yes.
We're taking on their bloodline. We're
Yes.
taking on.
Yes. Yes.
So you have to understand, this thing is spiritual.
Yes, it
You
is.
got to start fighting. Now you're not only fighting your bloodline, you're fighting your
Mm-hmm.
husband's bloodline, or vice versa. Whatever's
That's
in
right.
her bloodline, and y'all become one. You fighting her bloodline. You don't know
That's
what
right.
what type of witchcraft was
That's right.
in her ancestors, in her generation, and now you're fighting with all these demonic forces because y'all became
Mm-hmm.
one. Y'all became
Mm-hmm.
one. So now you fighting your demons and her demons, and she got baggage and you got baggage, and all y'all
Right.
trying to do is get
Right.
free from y'all baggage. So
That's right.
it's a lot more than just having sex. It's a lot more than pleasure, because
Mm-hmm.
God made it
Mm-hmm.
for pleasure. At the end of
That's
the
right.
day, He did make it for
That's right.
pleasure, but He made it for husband and wife. Okay.
That's
Tasha
right.
said 8% of high school students nationwide are forced to have sex. Good sex education teaches them what constitutes sexual violence. Look, that is
Mm.
wow.
That's
8% of
right.
high school students are forced to have sex.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
is so
I
sad.
can believe it. I believe it. I believe it. Like I said, it goes back. It goes back to, want to be a part of the in crowd and
Mm-hmm,
give in.
mm-hmm,
Or yes, yes. That's a lot. There's a lot that's going on, you know, with the high schoolers and middle schoolers as well.
mm-hmm. So I want to thank you, Deidre. We're gonna wrap it up. I thank you for coming on,
Okay.
talking about the hygiene and the sex with Gen Z. Before we end, I want to know if you have anything that's coming up that you want to let the viewers know, or how to get in contact with you if they need you to come and talk to their young people about sex, about hygiene, or anything like that.
Well, let me just say this. Because I've taken on a role with the club director. 2022 finishing out is the dates are rolling in, and
Mhm.
it's like I have limited dates. So if someone out there that you know that you have something coming up and you possibly think or would like to book my organization, go ahead on and reach out. And you can reach me at, we have a business number. It's 901 299 1171, or you can reach us through email, thehygienechick@gmail.com. But 20 people are already starting on 2023. And
Wow.
you know, Toya, you know how my family is very important to me. They
Mhm.
my first ministry. My
Mhm.
daughter, her basketball schedule is about to start, so we're going to be traveling, supporting her. So that's
Mhm.
why I said the dates are filling up, and I'm not taking like a whole slew of dates, so I can
Mhm.
be tired out and I don't have anything left for the people.
That's right. You
Yeah,
got to be
so
there for your family. That's for sure.
that's right. That's right. So I would love to come out. I'm actually in the process of training team members how to do the presentation and stuff like this. So all of it won't be on me.
Yes, right.
So
All
yes.
right, then you finna get you a team. Come on here,
Thank
team.
you, Tiffany. Yeah, I do have a team, but I'm always open to volunteers here in Memphis, Tennessee. For 2023, I'm already claiming it that I'm hoping to be traveling to other cities,
Come on, I already said.
introducing
Look,
the
I
hygiene
already
chick
said expansion.
experience.
Look at that. Look at God.
Yes, yes,
God,
I want to go to other cities and introduce the hygiene chick experience.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
That is
so
right.
it's a
That's
lot,
awesome.
but
That's
this is
awesome.
something that I love to talk about, and I think it's very important. And I love the support. I thank everybody for that has supported me along the way. I don't take it lightly. I'm very grateful of it. Thank you, Toya, for always thinking of me and giving the word and trying to push me out of comfort zone.
That's right. That's what we're supposed to do. It takes a
Team
village.
travel and trainings. Hey, Tiffany, come on with it.
See,
Yes,
that it
that's
takes a
good.
village.
Let me write that down.
It takes a village. It takes a village.
Yes,
And not only with the young people, it takes a village with us too. Okay.
yes, it does. A community of us. We have to keep each other encouraged. You know, you just never know. May was one of the hardest months for me. We had found out my dad is battling prostate cancer and stuff
Wow.
like that. So I forgot to add to that.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my sister's been pretty much juggling that, getting him back and forth to his doctor appointments and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So life is lifing.
That's
It's
right.
just, you know, it's lifing and it goes on,
It
you
just don't
know, and
stop.
you need a community of women, you know, to keep you going, you know. So I appreciate it all. I really do. I
Oh, you're
really do.
welcome. You're welcome. All right, we appreciate you. We see the thing. You know,
Thank
we've been
you.
rolling, rocking
A
and rolling for
long
a minute.
time.
We've been rocking
Yes.
and rolling for a minute. So
Yes,
I
yes,
see.
yes.
You know, I'm proud of you, and I know
Well, thank you.
Tiffany is proud of
Thank
you
you.
just
Yes, she
by
is.
taking the initiative. You know, to do it to teach our young people about
Hmm.
keeping themselves clean. You know,
That's right.
so I just want to thank you for coming on. Tasha, thank you as always.
Yeah.
I'm so sad that you could not come back on.
Right. We love you, Tasha.
But I know I love you, sis. But I know God has some major things for you as
Yes.
well. And I just can't wait to see the things that the Divine Divas Enterprise is going to be doing
Yes.
for the young ladies. So Tasha, we need to get together when I come back to Memphis. Or you know what? Maybe we need to get something together and
Right.
do an event. How about that?
Yeah.
Do something online, something event. But look, but
I'm
I want to
fine
thank
with it.
everybody
Just
for
let me
tuning
know.
in on tonight. And I want to just cover you. I will be amiss. Everybody knows this is a Christian Talk Forum, first and foremost. So I want to offer salvation. If those somebody in the comments that needs salvation, Tune in next week. Of course, tune in next week for Kitchen Conversation, 7 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. This is our full disclosure month. We're going to be talking about some different things. Make sure you got your notifications on. Make sure you are following me. Follow the Hygiene Chick. Follow Divine Divas, Latasha Dillard. Her name should be in there. Make sure that you're following these people. They're doing some good, amazing things in the community. Hey, Miss Jackie, thank you for tuning in. They're doing some amazing things with our young people. You know, you have to be gifted with the youth. You have to be gifted. You cannot just go out there willy-nilly and just train the youth, because they see it's hard. It's hard work. And they see
It
you.
is.
They see you. They know they like authenticity. They like transparency.
I was just about to say that.
They like realness. They like to be 100 for real, as they be saying, on period.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
let me go back. So I would be amiss if I did not offer salvation. It's as simple as ABCs: accept, believe, and confess. Accept, believe, and confess. And make sure you guys make sure you share this broadcast if you need salvation. Listen, just make sure you inbox me, say it in the comments, or if you're watching the replay, make sure you share, make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you come back next week on our full disclosure series. And I just want to thank you guys for tuning in on Kitchen Conversation on tonight. And y'all have an amazing, a wonderful night. And I pray that God blesses, overtakes y'all. And I pray that God, whatever God has for you, is going to be big. So I thank you guys, and I love you, and I'll see you next week.
All right.